Hello everyone. Uh, Today we are going to talk about energy flow in ecosystems. And myself, Dr. Mahamuni, Assistant Professor of Environmental Sciences in Bishop College. Most of you look energetic today. Right? Do you know how you get your energy? And we will discuss how energy comes to you. What is energy? Energy is nothing but a physical entity which helps you to do some work, right? Where it comes from, and there are different sources of energy, and you get your energy from the food you eat, right? And it may be a vegetarian or it's vegetarian, and it all how and where you are right now in the food chain, right? And it may be a primary producer or primary consumer or whatever it may be. And if you are a primary consumer, you consume the food from the producers, and it may be a plant, fruit, grains, nuts, or greens or vegetables. Okay, if green plants or producers having energy, a planet sun is the ultimate source of energy. So before going further, you might remember the thermal law that which states that can neither be created nor be destroyed. So only it can be transported from one place to another place. Then you may wonder how it's produced in the sun, right? So energy is uh, stored in the form of chemical energy in the sun. The hydrogen atoms fuse together to form inert helium gas in the sun. So it's a nuclear fusion reaction and is an exothermic reaction, which releases so much of energy in the form of light and heat. So this energy is from the sun in the form of photons, or otherwise we call it as energy packets. Hard, hardly minimal amount of energy reaches the Earth's surface, and otherwise the remaining energy is scattered in the space. Energy reaches the upper surface of the atmosphere is around 1360 watts per square meter. This energy reaches the earth, it may be in the form of either light or in the form of heat. And most of the energy reaches the earth depending on the climatic condition. It may be scattered and filtered in the atmospheric layers, and some amount is reflected back into the space. This generally it is called as electromagnetic spectrum, which contains an array of energy which are called as gamma rays, X-rays, UV, visible, infrared, microwaves. And the energy contains in these array of spectrum varies, and most of is which is around 90% of the radiation is composed of visible and infrared regions. So light region is what we are interested right now, and which is about 45% of the solar radiation. It is otherwise called as white light or VGR. So this the wavelength of this region ranges from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. The region is also called as photosynthetically active light because it falls upon a green where it contains chlorophyll pigment in each cell. So these absorb these photosynthetically active light, especially in the blue, that is 430 nanometer, and also in 672 nanometer. So normally green light strongly so that it looks green in color to our eyes. So this the light captured by the photosynthetic reaction where the carbon dioxide gas reacts with the water molecule in the presence of photonic energy to form carbohydrates and oxygen gas. So it is trapped in the carbohydrates as chemical energy. So in the form of chemical in the chemical bonds of carbohydrates, for example, the glucose, fructose, or starch molecules will be used by the plant for its own respiration or still be stored as a biomass. Now the energy transferred from producers to consuming the producers. So it primary producers of herbivores, which directly feeding on the green plants, and the secondary producers or carnivores, which feed on herbivores, receive energy from the primary consumers. Ultimately, the energy passes on to the tertiary consumers or top carnivores, which will not be eaten by any other predators. So these interactions we could put under the concepts of food chain and food web. So here understand that energy starts its journey from the sun to producers to primary consumers, then to secondary consumers, then to tertiary consumers. And here discuss the concept of productivity. So this productivity is measured as primary and as well as secondary productivity. The total energy produced by the producer or the green plants is called as gross primary productivity. And some of the energy stored as biomass after its own use for respiration is called as net primary productivity. So this net primary production or biomass is available for consumers. So the energy produced by the consumers from the producer is called as secondary productivity. The total production by the consumer is called as gross secondary productivity, and the biomass stored after its own respiration is called secondary net productivity, as in the primary production. So the biomass dead organisms of all categories, including producers, consumers, they get decomposed by a group of organisms called decomposers. So ultimately, they the energy from themselves, and the remaining is dissipated into the space. So all the time, the energy transfer, the energy getting onto this next level is reduced. So if you look at this energy pyramid, and the food that we eat get digested and metabolized and transferred to the next level. During each level of transfer, 90% of the energy is lost and only 10% is passed on to the next level. The energy dissipation into the space is called as entropy. So this concept we can easily understood by the concept of ecological pyramid. So next we and that this concept can be easily understood by the body temperature released, the entropy we can understand. And the energy, the food we are eating is get digested. After metabolism it is digested. So the body temperature is released as infrared radiation. So this energy reaches the tertiary consumer is energy is transferred in an ecosystem is not getting cycled. and it is unidirectional, that is only forward direction, and also it is irreversible, that means energy can never be transformed from consumer to producers, and that is why it is called as unidirectional and irreversible energy flow. And hope understood the concept very, and we will meet you in this video. Thank you for listening.